Most people don't fall in love, they lose themselves. And by the time they realize it, it's already too late. At first, it feels beautiful. You meet someone, and suddenly your world becomes brighter. You think about them constantly. You rearrange your time for them. You start making decisions based on how they will feel, how they will react, and how you can keep them happy. And slowly, almost without noticing, you begin to lose something important, yourself. Your routines change. Your priorities shift. Your peace becomes dependent on their attention. Your happiness becomes tied to their mood. And one day, if things fall apart, you are left not only with heartbreak, but with confusion. Because you don't even recognize who you are anymore. This is the hidden danger in modern relationships. People don't just love, they attach. They cling. They depend. But thousands of years ago, Stoic philosophers like Epictetus warned us about this exact problem. They believed that love should never cost you your identity. That you should care deeply, but never lose control of your own mind. That you should appreciate people, but never depend on them for your inner stability. In this video, you're going to learn how to love deeply, without losing yourself. How to build connections that are strong, calm, and meaningful, without falling into emotional chaos. Because real love doesn't weaken you. It strengthens you. 1. Stop seeking completion. One of the biggest lies people believe about love is this: that somewhere out there is a person who will complete them. You hear it everywhere. My other half. You complete me. I can't live without you. It sounds romantic, but it is dangerous. Because the moment you believe you are incomplete on your own, you hand over your power. You start looking for someone to fix your loneliness, your insecurity, your emptiness. And when you finally find someone, you don't just love them, you depend on them. Seneca taught that a wise person is enough for themselves. Not because they reject love, but because they are not broken without it. Think about it. If you need someone to feel whole, then your happiness is no longer yours. It is in their hands. Their attention becomes your validation. Their absence becomes your suffering. This is why so many relationships feel intense at the beginning, but painful later. Because they are built on need, not strength. Real love is different. Real love begins when two complete individuals choose each other, not because they are empty, but because they are already full. When you stop seeking someone to complete you, you start choosing someone to complement you. And that is where healthy love begins. 2. Detach from outcomes. Another reason people lose themselves in relationships is because they become obsessed with outcomes. They want certainty. They want to know: will this last forever? Do they truly love me? Will they leave? So they overthink. They analyze every message, every tone, every small change in behavior. They try to control things that are impossible to control. But Stoicism teaches a powerful truth. You only control your actions, not the results. Epictetus made this very clear. He said that suffering comes when we try to control what is not ours to control. In relationships, this is everything. You cannot control someone's feelings. You cannot control their loyalty. You cannot control whether they stay or leave. And the more you try, the more anxious and insecure you become. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you give your best, you show up honestly, you love fully, but you accept that the future is uncertain. This mindset does something powerful. It frees you. You stop overthinking every little thing. You stop trying to force outcomes. You stop living in fear. And ironically, this makes you more attractive. Because calm, grounded people are rare. People who are not desperate for control carry a quiet confidence, and that confidence creates stronger, healthier relationships. 3. Maintain your identity. One of the clearest signs that someone is losing themselves in a relationship is this: they forget who they were before it started. Their hobbies disappear. Their goals become secondary. Their personality begins to revolve around the other person. They start saying things like, "I don't do that anymore. I only like what they like. I just want to make them happy." And while compromise is important in any relationship, Losing your identity is not love, it is self-abandonment. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to stay true to his nature, no matter what was happening around him. This applies deeply to relationships. You must remain yourself, even when you love someone. Keep your routines. Keep your ambitions. Keep your standards. Because the moment you abandon yourself to keep someone else, you create imbalance. And over time, that imbalance leads to resentment, loss of attraction, and emotional exhaustion. Strong relationships are built between two individuals who respect each other's identity, not erase it. When you maintain who you are, you don't just protect yourself, you make the relationship stronger. 4. Control your emotions. Emotions are powerful, but uncontrolled emotions destroy relationships. Think about how many relationships are damaged by anger in the heat of the moment, overthinking small issues, reacting instead of responding. Most people don't realize that it's not the problem itself that causes damage, it's the reaction to it. Stoics believe that emotional discipline is one of the highest forms of strength. It doesn't mean you don't feel emotions. It means you don't let them control your actions. When something goes wrong, instead of reacting immediately, you pause. You think. You respond calmly. This changes everything. Arguments become conversations. Conflicts become manageable. And respect grows. Because in a world where most people react emotionally, the person who stays calm stands out. Calmness is power. And in relationships, it is one of the most attractive qualities you can have. 5. Love without possessiveness. One of the most misunderstood things about love is possession. People think that if someone truly loves them, they should always be available, always prioritize them, always act in a certain way. And when this doesn't happen, they feel threatened. Jealousy appears. Control begins. Insecurity grows. But love is not ownership. You do not own another human being. You do not control their thoughts, their choices, or their life. The more you try to possess someone, the more pressure you create. And pressure destroys connection. Stoicism teaches acceptance. You appreciate the person. You value the time you have with them. But you do not try to cage them. Because real love gives freedom. And when people feel free, not controlled, they are more likely to stay. 6. Be ready to walk away. This is the hardest lesson, but also the most important. Sometimes, no matter how much you care about someone, the relationship is not right. Maybe it drains your energy. Maybe it affects your peace. Maybe it forces you to compromise your values. And many people stay anyway. Why? Because they are afraid. Afraid of being alone. Afraid of starting over. Afraid of losing what they invested. But Stoicism teaches courage. It teaches that your peace, your growth, and your self-respect must come first. If a relationship takes more from you than it gives, you must be willing to leave. Not out of anger. Not out of pride. But out of clarity. Walking away is not weakness. It is strength. 7. Stop overvaluing attention. One of the fastest ways to lose yourself in a relationship is to become addicted to attention. You start measuring love by how fast they reply, how often they call, how much attention they give you. And when that attention drops, even slightly, you feel it immediately. You begin to question everything. Did I do something wrong? Are they losing interest? Is someone else replacing me? This is where anxiety begins. But here's the truth most people don't realize. Attention is not love. Attention can be given by anyone. It can be fake. It can be temporary. It can be inconsistent. Real love is deeper. It is shown through consistency, respect, and presence, not constant validation. Epictetus taught that when you depend on external things for your peace, you become a slave to them. If your happiness depends on how often someone texts you, then your peace is no longer yours. Stoicism teaches you to return to yourself. Instead of chasing attention, build your focus. Strengthen your routine. Invest in your growth. Because when your life is full, you stop chasing small signals of validation. And ironically, that makes people value you more. 8. Learn to enjoy solitude. Most people fear being alone. They jump from one relationship to another, not because they found the right person, but because they are trying to escape themselves. Silence feels uncomfortable. Being alone feels empty. So they look for someone to fill that space. But Stoicism teaches something very different. Solitude is not loneliness, it is strength. Seneca believed that a person who is comfortable alone is truly free. Because when you enjoy your own company, you don't tolerate disrespect. You don't settle for less. You don't stay where you are not valued. You choose relationships from a place of strength, not fear. Think about it. If you are afraid to be alone, you will accept almost anything just to avoid that feeling. But when you are at peace with yourself, you become selective. And that is what protects you from losing yourself. 9. Set clear standards. Many people enter relationships without clear standards. They accept behaviors they normally wouldn't tolerate. Why? Because emotions are involved. They say, "It's okay, they didn't mean it. It will get better. I don't want to lose them." And slowly, their boundaries disappear. Stoicism teaches clarity. Marcus Aurelius believed in living according to principles, not emotions. This applies directly to relationships. You must decide what you accept, what you reject, what you stand for. And once you decide, stick to it. Because if you don't define your standards, someone else will define them for you. And that is how people lose respect in relationships. Standards are not about controlling others. They are about protecting yourself. 10. Accept impermanence. This is one of the deepest Stoic principles, and one of the hardest to accept. Nothing lasts forever. Not people. Not feelings. Not relationships. And most people resist this truth. They want guarantees. They want permanence. They want certainty. But the more you try to hold on to something as permanent, the more fear you create. Fear of loss. Fear of change. Fear of endings. Stoics practiced something powerful. They reminded themselves that everything is temporary. Not to feel sad, but to feel grateful. When you understand that nothing lasts forever, you appreciate people more. You stop taking moments for granted. You love without clinging. This mindset changes everything. You stop trying to control time. You simply experience it. 11. Stop overthinking everything. Overthinking is one of the biggest causes of emotional suffering in relationships. A simple message becomes a deep analysis. A small change becomes a big problem. A delay becomes a story in your mind. And the truth is, most of these thoughts are not real. They are assumptions. Epictetus taught that it is not events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. In relationships, this is extremely common. You create meaning where there is none. And then you react to that meaning. The solution is awareness. When you catch yourself overthinking, pause. Ask yourself, do I know this is true, or am I assuming? This simple question can save you from unnecessary stress. Because clarity always brings peace. 12. Focus on actions, not words. Words are easy. Anyone can say, "I love you. I care about you. I will never leave." But actions reveal truth. Stoicism teaches observation. Instead of getting attached to what someone says, watch what they do. Do they show consistency? Do they respect you? Do they follow through? Marcus Aurelius focused on reality, not illusion. And in relationships, actions are reality. When you start focusing on behavior instead of promises, you protect yourself from disappointment. 13. Don't chase, attract. Chasing is driven by fear. Fear of losing someone. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being replaced. So people try harder. More messages. More effort. More attention. But this often creates the opposite effect. It lowers your value. Stoicism teaches self-sufficiency. When you are focused on your purpose, your growth, and your life, you naturally become attractive. You don't need to chase. Because your energy changes. You become calm. You become confident. You become grounded. And people feel that. 14. Protect your peace. Your peace is your most valuable asset. Without it, nothing feels right. But many people sacrifice their peace to keep a relationship. They tolerate stress, confusion, and emotional instability, just to avoid being alone. Stoicism teaches prioritization. Your inner state matters more than external attachment. If something constantly disturbs your peace, you must question it. Because love should not feel like chaos. It should feel stable. 15. Grow, don't just attach. The purpose of a relationship is not just connection, it is growth. Two people should help each other become better. Not weaker. Not dependent. Not lost. Seneca believed that relationships should contribute to virtue and development. Ask yourself, am I growing in this relationship? Am I becoming better or worse? If the answer is no, then something is wrong. Because the right relationship elevates you. Most people search for love their entire lives, without realizing what they truly need. They think they need someone to complete them. Someone to stay forever. Someone to make them feel whole. But the truth is simpler and stronger. You must become whole first. Because when you are complete on your own, you don't beg for love. You don't chase attention. You don't lose yourself. You choose. And that changes everything. Stoicism is not about avoiding love, it is about strengthening yourself so that love does not weaken you. So that you can care deeply, without losing control. So that you can connect, without becoming dependent. So that you can love, without fear. If you made it this far, it means you are ready to think differently. Subscribe now for more powerful Stoic lessons that will transform your mindset, your discipline, and your life. Because the strongest version of you is still being built.